Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. All right, welcome back, everybody. THC, CBD, making such a difference in so many lives. Now it's much easier to purchase, and it's supporting people with emotional challenges, physical challenges, and so much more. This gentleman knows his stuff. We're going to learn a lot today, and that comes courtesy of the first and only certified living wage recreational cannabis dispensary in Canada's capital. They have so many products and just treat their customers and their employees so well. And it's great to have him back here. Clayton Armstrong from goodnaturecannabis.ca joins us again on the program. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. How are you, my friend?
Very well. And I want to share a personal situation with a friend.
Sure.
And she takes CBD to sleep better. She realized what she was taking wasn't really working anymore. So she got something else, not from your dispensary, just bought something that from a reputable place. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, right.
And it kind of blew her away in terms of it knocked her out. She was groggy when she woke up in the morning. And I want to give you the formulation of that and get your feedback on it.
Right.
Okay. So,
yep.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead and tell me what's in that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. And again, the goal here is to fall asleep and stay asleep. So what she took was 10 milligrams of CBD, 10 mil of THC, and also 10 milligrams of CBN.
Right. Okay.
And I've heard that CBN supports sleep, but I don't even know what it is. So maybe we could start there.
Okay.
Your thoughts on all of that?
Okay. Well, first off, edibles are a great way to stay asleep because they last a lot longer. And when you consume cannabis through vaping or smoking, it is an instantaneous sort of relief or an instantaneous dose of whatever you're trying to get. That being said, it's quickly up and quickly down when it comes to that. When you eat something, it takes much longer to be processed. It gets processed through your liver, which then, into your bloodstream, and, the effects can last so much longer. So that's why it's great for sleep, because it's kind of lasts throughout the evening.
Well, okay, just want to jump in and say can last so much longer, but takes longer to go into your system, right?
Yes, yeah. There are some new innovations that it's more bioavailable, so it's rapid onset, but it still lasts a very long time. The rapid onset can be anywhere from like 5 minutes to 15 minutes on these sort of rapid onset ones that we now have sort of in the marketplace.
Gotcha.
But yeah, CBN, which was the other compound that we were talking about in that, so CBN is degraded THC. And what studies are trying or sort of showing us is that CBN is, you've heard the couch lock effect. This is what they attribute to it. So it's not THC anymore. It's degraded past that, and it's now called CBN. And it sort of makes you lazy or relaxed and kind of helps with the sleep. It's the sort of sedative effect that you get from cannabis.
Wow.
So that one definitely with sleep, all the sleep formulas are definitely using that CBN compound.
Now, what is that? Let's jump back on that.
Okay.
You say degraded, which doesn't sound good.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good, but it's not bad. Yeah, it's definitely it's over. It's past the point of a sort of ripeness that it's. I don't even want to say ripeness, because then you're going to think something is wrong or it's bad. But it changes its molecular structure at a certain point and becomes something else. So it's more like a transformation, let's call it, than a degradation. Right? It transforms into the CBN compound.
Gotcha.
So it's not like you'd find it on moldy weed, right? You'd find it on weed that maybe was left much longer than it should have been in its growing phase. So, think of it as a very ripe fruit.
Got it.
Instead of a crisp apple, it's, softer.
So it's like a banana that it's getting a little bit of brown. It's kind of sounds like
still fantastic.
Yeah. And actually, the riper bananas get, the sweeter they are.
Exactly. It's more along those lines of things. So now the THC, this is where I'm thinking the problems are coming from. The THC is a psychoactive compound. Everyone is different. I always say go low, go slow, because 2.5 milligrams might be a lot for someone, or it might be nothing. So individually, we are so unique. I can consume cannabis on a very high level when it comes to vaping or smoking it. But when it comes to eating, I'm a lightweight compared to a lot of people I know, because it's 100% different when you eat it. It's completely different. So 10 milligrams is a lot for some people, and you'll get it's almost like you're hungover the next day with the brain fog kind of thing. You feel, you don't want to get any spring in your step. You're dragging your feet all day. You're cloudy. Your thoughts are cloudy. That is too much THC the night before.
Okay, so let's looking at what she took. The 10 mil, everything had 10 milligrams CBD, CBN, and THC. So, what makes you feel that groggy feel? That was the too much THC?
Yeah. In my opinion, I'm not a doctor, but I definitely, from my experiences consuming edibles, if you take too much THC, this is you definitely. I know exactly what she was saying when she felt that way.
Wow.
Because I've taken too much. Now, it wasn't 10 milligrams for me. It was probably something crazy that I took by, probably more like 100 or something I took that made me feel that way. But that's a personal thing, and that's why you can't, once you've taken it, you can't get it out of you, sort of thing. So that's why I say go low, go slow with edibles, because whereas smoking, you're fine. You can just kind of, within 15 minutes of smoking something that was too strong for you, you're probably coming down from that point and feeling better. But edibles, oh no, you're on for a ride. It's like 8 hours, and then these effects afterwards, these lingering sort of side effects, they can last. So cautious with edibles. I would tell your friend, maybe next time, cut that into 4 and try a quarter of it. Because I do find THC a little tiny bit in that sort of to help you sleep does really help, combined with the CBD and the CBN. But I would take that dose that was way too much. I would take it 25% of it next time.
Gotcha.
And does see how that does.
It didn't add to the it didn't support the cause either, I would think, if you have the THC then the CBN, right? So it's like there's a lot going on there.
There is. And that's, again, I come back to customer service and knowledgeable bud tending staff. We would never tell someone that came in that just took CBD gummies to take a 10 milligram dose, just because it affects everyone so differently. We're all individual, and it is so unique to our experience, to each of us. So we would always caution on the 2.5 milligrams of THC to maybe 5 to start. Because the worst thing that's going to happen, not going to do anything.
Right.
But the worst thing, if you eat too much, is going to be, what your friend experienced, or even further, you can get to a point where you do not feel well. It's like drinking too much almost.
Side note, out of curiosity, and I think I've heard this right, but let's say that you take too much THC. Can you counteract it with CBD?
Yes, it can sort of balance it slightly. I wouldn't necessarily think it's going to be your saving grace, but the plant in its original form, before we got it into our hands, was a balanced plant. It had balanced amounts of THC and CBD in it. What happened was, when we discovered the plant, we were taking it for the psychoactive part. We were taking it for the THC because we didn't know anything about the CBD. There was not even science at the time, right? We were tribal. So we were taking it for ceremonious, and I think we knew it beneficially. It helped us, right, maybe with some aches and pains and things like that. But, moving forward, when it became illegal, the only thing that was worth money to the black market was that psychoactive compound THC. So we bred out all this CBD, which was the really more medically beneficial part of the plant for more things, and we bred that out because it had no monetary value at the time. So then we got into these really high THC plants with no CBD in them, and that's kind of where we're at. Now we're coming back. So the plant was always meant to kind of be balanced, and we've modified it for our recreational purposes to be more potent in the psychoactive and less potent in CBD. So, yes, if you take it together, it's going to be a more balanced experience.
Wow. I want to throw this formulation to you. And we a lot of people have sleep challenges, so we're focusing on that for the moment. I've seen this makeup, and I'm curious your thoughts on it. It would be 10. Well, let me think. Let me think about this for a second, because I want to get it right, and I want your thoughts on it, and then also some of the stuff that you guys sell that supports sleep. So let's say something has let's go with this: 25 milligrams of hemp,
right? Melatonin,
and there's something called L-theanine or something like that. I don't even know. Apparently, it supports sleep. Have you ever heard, a compound like that, a mixture like that?
Yes. So Health Canada has said at the moment they have not approved this in Canada, but I have had customers coming up from the States with that melatonin CBD compound.
Okay.
And they are raving about how it works. It was one of my neighbors at my mother asked me if I had something like that I could sell her, and it was melatonin with that CBD, and she said it's the only thing that works. So I looked into it. Turns out Health Canada hasn't approved that product yet. Again, you guys are kind of ahead of the curve when it comes to research and development of things. So I think we will see it, but I don't have any experience with it, but I have heard that melatonin CBD combo is amazing. So,
interesting. All right. And for me, I look at that and I'm like, nah, because I've taken melatonin. It's worked for a little while, and then it doesn't really do anything. And I'm like, it doesn't, it's long off my radar.
Right. Yeah, I was the same. I took melatonin for a bit, and I felt the same way. It kind of worked, and then I felt like it didn't. And then I'm like, why am I taking this if it doesn't do anything? So, you stop. But maybe the combo is a different animal. I definitely, the next time I'm in the States, will look for that and pick one up to try. That's for sure.
What does it mean when something is full spectrum hemp? I see that, and maybe we could just break it down for basics here. What is hemp, CBD, and THC? Okay,
so hemp, we'll start out with, is the cousin of marijuana. It was used for rope. It was the first American flag is made of hemp.
Right, sure.
Which is a fact that as a Canadian, I don't know why I know that, but I do know that the first American flag, was made of hemp. It was the strongest natural fiber on Earth. Now we're finding that it is high in CBD. And it has other compounds, CBC, and things that can be isolated as well. It just doesn't have that THC compound. It's much more cost-effective to grow this outside because you're usually using it for the extract. So it's much cheaper to produce than cannabis. and you can definitely commercialize it quite easily. So that's the big difference. They are cousins, and one just doesn't have the psychoactive property. It grows slightly differently as well, but they look similar. So that is the hemp. Full spectrum is referring to everything in the plant. A lot of companies will use a solvent or CO2 or a process to extract just the CBD out and or just the THC out, and that's what they call like a distillate or something like that. So they're removing everything out of it but that compound. Full spectrum means you're getting that CBD, but you're also getting all the other things in the plant that we don't necessarily even know what they do or how they react with each other. And it's full spectrum, so it means you're getting that all the benefits of that plant. And there's a lot of interactions between compounds in cannabis that they don't necessarily understand the science yet of how they work together, but they do. There was years ago that we synthesized THC, and they're like, oh, that's the end of weed. There's just going to be pills now. It didn't work, and it didn't work because it was just THC. It wasn't the rest of the plant. There's some things going on there that dictate how you feel. Like when you smoke a joint, each weed will get you, or cannabis will get you somewhere else or be slightly different. Some are energetic, some make you sleepy, some give you anxiety, some people, right? And that has to do with all the other things in the plant that are acting together. So that's where full spectrum comes into play. It is, I would always lean towards a full spectrum oil rather than one that's just isolated with CBD. Just because there are so many compounds in the cannabis plant, and they work together in sort of harmony.
This does get deep.
And I don't know everything, that's for sure. There's people who would school me on this.
Oh my gosh, you're 50 million light years ahead of the average person. Man. And still lots to learn. Seriously, Clayton, my head starts to spin. And I know a little bit, but you have such knowledge, especially when it comes to the different compounds that are out there. Amazing. How long have you been doing this? Where did this all start? I probably started with you, smoking a couple of joints back in the day.
Yeah. So I was diagnosed with AD. I'm 48 years old. So I was like one of the first kids diagnosed with ADD, and they wanted to put me on Ritalin, and at the time, heroic dose. Like, I was like one of the first kids on it. So I was on this mega dose of Ritalin, and the side effects were very detrimental to me and everyone around me. At school, I was good, but outside of school, I was a terror, apparently. So it was a very short stint on that drug, and then I got off. Later on in life, I was very young at the time. Later on in life, when I first smoked cannabis, it was for sure self-medicating at the time. It brought my mind, which raced constantly. It took it down a notch so I could detach from things. And I don't mean this in a negative way. I wasn't running away from problems, nothing like that. Mm-hmm. But something that would bother me that wouldn't bother you, I couldn't probably stop thinking about it. But with cannabis, I could let it go. And again, this isn't important things. This isn't, putting off your homework. This isn't, not going to work. This was, you called me a mean person. And it really bugged me, even though I know I'm not a mean person, right? That part of it really helped me. And it also, I wasn't very comfortable in my own skin before I started smoking cannabis. It's the only way I can describe it. It was like, oh, okay, I feel normal. I feel like a normal human being now. Wow. Instead of this kid that was bouncing off the walls, mind going a million miles a minute, can't sit still for 2 seconds. I could focus. I could, accomplish things. I was calmer, cooler, more calculated. Yeah, everything was. And, lifestyle, is a very big no-no in our industry right now, is showing lifestyle. But I skied at a high level. I wasn't a professional by any means, but I skied at a high level. I was a backcountry skier in British Columbia. I loved getting out into the woods. And there is a lot of danger out there as well. And I will tell you, I did not feel comfortable unless I was smoking. And some people will be like, that's crazy, but I wasn't smoking to be intoxicated. And that's where I kind of have to draw this line. I was smoking so that I could focus on the task at hand. So when I was at the top of a mountain looking at a line that you can't make a mistake because it's going to be, the consequences are large. You know, you could get really hurt or worse. And, you know, I would not be comfortable until I had smoked cannabis. And then once I did, I was completely focused on the line, where I had to do, what I had to do, the dangers I needed to avoid, all those things. Now, is this for everyone? No, this is just for me. So this is where it started for me. So I loved the plant because I felt like it finally made me complete. And this is just me, just a personal experience. So I was always into the plant. I was always a proponent of it being legalized. I was always on the benefits of it, the benefits of CBD, this plant that is at our disposal and had been used forever until the early 1900s, you know, suddenly got villainized and used as a weapon, basically, to put people in jail. So I was always a proponent of getting it back to the legal market where we're at now. And that's where the journey began for me, was just, yeah, like you said, smoking a joint with a friend, but saying, oh my gosh, you know, and at first, yes, I got, you know, you would get intoxicated, but eventually I was like, the benefits I was getting, I was like, oh man, this is definitely better than taking a pill.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. And
no problem.
You seem so grounded in the whole situation. And by the way, one of my best friends went through school, started my media career with him in high school, and he was always stoned. He just, and that is, some people can. And he was able to do so much in terms of his work, you know, his focus. And I don't know if he had any challenges like that, but I do know that supported him and I'm talking like when we were in our 20s, and he probably still to the day, he moved away. But yeah, it's once you realize it, but yeah, it's no surprise. This has been around for many, many thousands of years. Yeah. And this was medicine. And still
That's
is.
it.
Yeah.
And the stigma of you're not going to be, you know, necessarily successful. I mean, like, let's look at like Snoop Dogg. Are you kidding me? Yeah. This guy's like one of the biggest businessmen in the world. Yeah. Everyone knows this man, and he smokes weed every day.
Yeah, and look at how, you know, back when he was, you know, heavy into releasing rap and all that. Did you ever think he'd be hanging out with Martha Stewart?
Or at the Olympics?
Years before, you know, they collaborated on so much. Yeah, exactly.
The best. Martha and him together was like genius.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Final thought here. We're out of time, but I got to say it.
Yeah.
I almost get triggered to say the words "smoke a joint" because that is like been locked in our brains of from, you know, even growing up as a kid, like whoa, bad, you know, smoke a joint, bad. But it's not that way. And
smoking is not healthy. That's the one thing I will say. You know, like combustion, not good. But at the same time, that is how I consume it. That is my choice.
Sure.
And I think the benefits outweighed the negative part of that.
Yeah, and not to defend you, but just state the facts. It's not like you're smoking 3 packs a day. That's you know, that's the major impact on your lungs. And then for somebody that doesn't want to, of course, there's other things that you can do, right down to gummies.
The gummies, the sprays,
goodnaturecannabis.ca. You can't sell to the States, but you know, you guys have got it going on there in Canada's capital, and especially as a living wage cannabis dispensary, meaning that you pay people what they actually need to get to live, not minimum wage. And it just shows your passion for the industry and staying true to helping people. And of course, you'll welcome any interaction from the States. If somebody's looking to expand what you're doing, here in the U.S., certainly reach out. Again, the website, and you can find Clayton there too, goodnaturecannabis.ca. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate it. Learned a lot. And also thank you, for your transparency, Clayton.
We appreciate you so much, and thanks so much. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and look forward to the next time.
Same thing here. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.